Hello, everyone, and welcome to our next session in the IONOS Cloud Technology stream here at the Cloud Up event. So if you happen to be in the wrong spot, we are talking about IONOS Cloud Cubes in here. This is your chance to switch. For the rest that stays with us, I am very happy to have you here. At first, my name is Robert. I'm a product manager here at IONOS Cloud and responsible for platform as a service and BPS products. From the background, I'm a computer scientist and just turned to the more business side of things. So I am happy to introduce to you a new product line that we are going to offer in the IONOS Cloud, and just a little thoughts about why we are going to do this. We had something in our mind, and different to what you can already get at the IONOS Cloud, which is with a compute engine, VM type instance that has dedicated resources that guarantees you a certain amount of computing performance, and that has, in terms of data safety and integrity, I think quadruple data replication. So it is almost impossible that your data actually gets lost, and very high availability setups, which is a perfect fit for anything that has high requirements to those high standards, just like production systems that are customer facing or business critical systems that you might have internally. And this is, of course, quite a heavyweight, and these high standards come at a certain cost. So we were thinking about a little bit more lightweight infrastructure for other use cases than the heavy lifting and production systems. So here we are, talking about the IONOS Cloud Cubes as a smart alternative for non-critical workloads. So what are we actually talking about today? At first, I will give you a short introduction about what the new product is and what are some properties and benefits and what we had in mind that you might use it for. Afterwards, we go into a live demo, and after that, in the live demo, to showcase you how to use it in our data center designer, alongside the very simple use case of setting up a web server. And afterwards, we can have a Q&A session as well. So let's get started and into it. First question that comes into mind is, what are cubes exactly? So as already mentioned, it is a new type of virtual machine instance that runs on shared resources compared to the compute engine, where you have dedicated resources, and which is fully integrated in the IONOS Cloud. You can access it via the data center designer that I will show you afterwards. You can have it in the version 6 API and the SDKs, though to mention the version 6 API is not released yet. And it will be a completely seamless interaction and integration with all the other products in the IONOS Cloud that you might find useful. It comes in fixed t-shirt sizes, which consist of a fixed configuration of CPU, RAM, and storage. Again, that's a differentiation to the already available compute engine, where you have the full flexibility model. And that's the most important point, at a significantly lower cost. One thing to mention in here as well is they are not fully released yet, so we are in an early access closed beta phase. So sadly, you cannot go ahead and play around with them by yourself after the talk. But if you are interested in that, just let us know, write us an email, and we will keep you informed about the upcoming open beta and when it will start. So for the next question, what are the benefits of the cubes that you get, maybe apart from the low cost that I already mentioned? On the physical platform that they are running on, we have direct attached storage that are high-speed NVMe SSDs, which provide the cubes with a quite high IOPS and read-write performance. And the direct attached storage volume comes in the t-shirt size predefined that you have. And if you find yourself out of capacity on your machine, you are of course able to add additional network storages if you need more storage capacity on that. In terms of data safety, it is redundantly replicated as well. And additionally, there is an integrated daily disaster recovery backup. So since we have the direct attached storage, we need to somehow prevent your data to be lost when something bad happens to the hardware, to the physical machine. And this is done once every day. So the latest point to restore would be 24 hours away. It might be shorter, it might be farther, because we cannot guarantee any point in time that it is actually run. But if you want to have more control yourself or a more fine granular point in time to restore to, you can, of course, use the backup offering that is in the IONOS Cloud anyway as well. For the next point, we have low cost through the shared resources that they run on and the fixed sizes that we offer. And through the fixed sizes, they allow us to operate the hardware below at a much higher rate of efficiency. And this is a benefit that we are passing on to you in terms of cost. The deployment of the cubes is quite fast as well. So of course, this depends on the size of the image that you choose. But for the most of the public images that we are offering in the IONOS Cloud, it is about 1 minute deployment time. And of course, you are able to upload your own private images to have something pre-configured that you want to run your cube with. And you are able to make snapshots as well from the storage and just replicate the cube that you have. All right. So what were we thinking about? What do we have in mind when designing the cubes, and what should be the use case? So as I mentioned, it's probably not the right decision to put your production environment on it. But if you have any tasks that might require development or testing or staging environment that I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have, this would be a quite good fit. If you want to run any simple web applications or web hosting a website, this might be a good fit as well. If you have your CI/CD pipeline and just want to spin up a GitLab or a Jenkins server, that could be a good fit as well. So to talk in general terms of what is good, what are cubes good for, is if you have if you want to just fast, easy, and automated spin up some infrastructure that you want to run some tasks on and shut them down afterwards or keep them running. If you have some intense storage I/O tasks, like maybe a highly volatile database with a high speed NVMEs, it's a good fit as well. And that if you have requirements to lightweight to medium computing power, because as I said, it's shared resources and the heavy lifting and number crunching should still be left to the compute engine, but you will get a already very nice average case of computing performance, but the bad case, the worst case might be lower. So now the sizes that we are offering the cubes are from quite small virtual machines with 1 gigabyte of memory, 1 virtual CPU, and 30 gigabyte of space, to I think quite large virtual machines already with 32 gigabytes of memory, 8 virtual CPUs, and 640 gigabytes of space. The payment model is, as you would expect it in a cloud, of course, pay as you go. So you're just paying for the time that you're actually using your cube. You spin it up, do something with it, pay for it, and then spin it down again. For the moment, an important point to note is that the resource pool, or rather the resource limits, are shared with the compute engine for the moment. This is object to change in the future, of course, so we will have dedicated resource limits for the cubes. But for the moment, and probably if we go into an open beta, if you are interested in it, this will still stay the same. All right, so far for the theoretical information and introduction to the cubes. Let's hop into a live demo where, We already see it. I'm already logged into the data center designer. For those of you that are already familiar with our platform, that's nice. For those of you that are not, I will try to explain a little bit more what I do. So I have a virtual data center prepared for us. And as I said, I would like to set up a little web server. We're not going to go too deeply into how we do the web server. It's about the cubes, of course. But we already have a little backend where we might have an app server that's serving something or a database that we want to connect to. And as you can see here on the left side, we have a palette of nice stuff that we could add to our data center. And we are looking for the cubes in here. So we take it and drop it inside there. And here we are. It is already pre-configured with a storage volume. And at first, we wanted to set up a web server. So we're going to give it a proper name. It will be a web server. And here we can choose between the templates that I just mentioned. And we do not expect too much traffic from the start. So we go with a medium-sized cube. And here you can see the defined set of resources that you're going to have again. As you might see, you cannot change them. They are predefined. As a second step, we need to choose which image we want to deploy from. We just choose the latest Ubuntu version. We could, as you see, choose our own images. We could choose snapshots, or you could upload your own image in here. We still need to set a password, and my IT security professional told me that all my passwords have to be very secure. All right, that's it. You can, of course, add your own SSH keys for connection to this, or you can drop in your SSH key just here. We have an SSH key manager for pre-configured keys, and we can choose a backup unit to back up our cube against as well. So we're going to choose the cube demo. We want to have it in here. And now we just, as a final step, need to rename our storage. It's a direct attached storage volume, so we call it DAS volume. And DAS volume is good. And we want to create a web server. Almost forgot. Obviously, we want to be reachable from the outside, so we have to connect to the public internet access. And we want to be able to connect to our back end. So we have a private LAN that is not reachable from the outside, and the front end of that is our website, reachable from the outside. I think we're ready to go. Just provision in here. Nothing's gone wrong. And now our cube is being provisioned. This might take, as I said, about 1 minute in time. So we have some time to look around other stuff. As I just mentioned, there are certain managers that you have in your data center designer, as here the SSH key manager. You have a backup unit manager that we can look at, and all the things that you might need to manage. All right. So we are almost done here already. The bad thing about fast deployment times is you wouldn't even be able to just quickly grab a cup of coffee. Maybe if you're very close to your kitchen, but seems not very feasible to me. And here we are. Our cube is provided and should be already running. At the moment, it is probably booting. And we now could connect to it with any SSH client that you would like to choose, or we can take our console over here and log in as root with our very secure password. It should work fine. Here we are. And for setting up a web server, we just go ahead and install the Apache 2 web server. Of course, it is a live demo, and of course, something goes wrong. Fingers crossed before, but it is. Did I do something wrong? Apache 2? No. All right. So somehow we are not able to install it at the moment, but this doesn't change too much in the rest of the show in here. I wanted to show you that we have would be reachable from the outside. I will have a look in it afterwards. Nevertheless, the cube is up and running. This is more an internal issue with Ubuntu at the moment. And yes, so I will skip showing you that the web server is running. What you can do, of course, as well is, so now we have our web server up and running. We have a storage size, and I wanted to show you that we can just in the live, without restarting it, add further storages that you might need. So we have a running out of capacity and need to store some more data on our cube. We can have a additional network storage in here. So if you can see it, at the moment, we just have the one storage that is already there. And we configured it properly, hit provision. Nothing's gone wrong. We just started. And we might already see it in here. There it is. We have another 100 gigabyte of storage ready and available for us to write to. Okay, so this is how you can use the cubes in the data center designer. Everything that I've shown you right now is, of course, possible to do with the API as well. And yeah, so far, I think we can go back to the Q&A session in here. So there are already some questions popping up. Yes, it is possible to suspend a cube. It is so the question is if it's possible to suspend a cube and if you have to pay for it if it's suspended. So yes, it's already the correct term. It is possible to suspend it and not to stop it because we have the direct attached storage, and you have to pay for the time it is alive. So until you delete it again. For another question, are the cubes similar to AWS EC2 instances? In some terms, I would say. So I do not have the background information on how in the backend Amazon is running their EC2 instances, but they are not burstable in this time. Okay. Next question is, which technology base do you use for the cubes? I think what you mean is maybe Mr. Thomas, Mr. Thomas Meyer. The technology base that they are running on will be AMD EPYC, if you mean in terms of CPU. And the hypervisor is KVM. So I hope that answers your question. And the next question is it possible to suspend a cube and resume later? If so, is the suspend time also counted? Yes, it is possible. I answered that just before. So the suspended time is also accounted for. That's it. Okay, there's another question popping up about the price. The prices are not fully published yet, but I can give you a hint in terms of the cube that we just provided with 2 virtual CPUs and 4 gigabytes of RAM, 80 gigabytes of storage, will be around €18 per month. All right, so far and for that, there's another. Yes, you can. The next question is, can I also start provision Windows servers? Yes, you can provision from all type of image sources that we are offering in the IONOS Cloud, which are CentOS in different versions, Ubuntu in different versions, and Windows Server in different versions. And I think there might be even some more. As well, you can also start or provision your cubes from your own uploaded private images that you can configure in any way you like. And you can do snapshots of your cube and provision them from that as well. All right. So for the moment, no further questions are flying in. Then I hope and I assume that all the questions have been answered so far. And yeah, since the last session was a little bit overdue, we might close this session a little bit earlier so that you have a little break in between. Then let's go forward. Thank you all for your attention and have a nice rest of the IONOS Cloud Summit as well. I will be available in the forum as well if you have any further questions regarding the cubes.